One of the really fun things about teaching and about practicing yoga is you discover these little pieces of poses that you can work on through the practice. In this practice, we're dissecting half moon pose, working the hip, working back strength to support the pelvic area, and working on leg strength. So it's kind of an overall conditioning to get the back leg in half moon pose to be quite active. So let's get right to it. With your hands a little bit wider apart than your shoulders are, with your toes tucked under, inhale, this cat cow. Exhale, this time as you lift the back body up in this cat position, draw your pelvis back toward your heels and allow your head to just release down. Inhale, lift yourself up, claw the earth with your fingertip tops, draw your heart forward. Exhale, lift your back body up, draw your pelvis back. And two more. Inhale, heart draws forward, chin lifts. Exhale, draw back, find fullness there. One more. Inhale and exhale. Come back to tabletop position, and from there, lower yourself down to the mat. On the in breath, lift your heart. Exhale, soften down, reach your arms out as if we're swimming rather than tapping down. Lift your right foot, right hand and left foot. And now just without tapping the earth, just trade sides. This is like you're kind of doing this weird swimming action. Keep your head lifted, right, left, right, left. Just strengthening the back muscles. A few more cycles here. And one more cycle. And release your hands down alongside your ribs. On the in breath, reach your heart forward and exhale, soften down. Come to tabletop position and either downward facing dog or child's pose. Find the pose that works nicely for you and pause there. Receive nice fullness to the in breath and the out breath. Soften your facial muscles. Attune to your breath. Find fullness in the breath. Take 3 more cycles of the breath in whatever pose you chose. 2 more. And 1 more. Make your way back to all fours position. In all fours position, step your right foot to the outside of your right hand, tuck your left toes under, lift yourself up to a high lunge. Now balance yourself to come all the way up to a crescent lunge. Reach your gaze up, reach your hands back, open your chest. Exhale, take your hands down, come to tabletop position again. Left foot steps to the outside of your left hand. Lift your back knee up. Inhale, reach your arms up, open your chest, reach your hands back. Exhale, take your hands down, come to tabletop position. Trade sides again. Right foot to the outside of your right hand. Left knee lifts up. Reach your arms up. Exhale, take your hands down and come to tabletop. Left foot steps to the outside of your left hand. Back knee lifts up. Inhale, reach up and back. Exhale, take your hands down, step back. One more cycle. Take your right foot to the outside of the right hand. Lift your back knee up. Sweep your arms up once you get your balance. Exhale, take your hands down. Take your knee down. All fours position. And left side, last time. Lift your back knee up. Reach your arms up. Open your chest. Exhale. Release your hands down and come again either to child's pose or downward facing dog. Just pause. This is kind of a class for overall conditioning. Now we pause to just kind of assimilate all those actions. Downward dog or child's pose. Let's all meet at the top of the mat. So as you make your way to the top of the mat, come to Tadasana. Have your feet hip distance apart. Take your arms up, interlace your fingers, and with your fingers interlaced, your arms lifted, reach over to the right side. And don't go too far. We'll just kind of do a little bouncing action here. Not too much bounce, just a little pulsing here as you draw over. Just allow yourself to get the connective tissue to really wake up on one side. With the elbows slightly bent, you're just working to expand the side body to give you just a little bit more fullness for the lungs to expand. And come back to center. Release your hands and just stand in Tadasana. Notice how one side feels so much longer than the other. Reach your interlaced fingers up. Draw over to the opposite side. Same thing. Just kind of pulsing with the breath. And so often when we find the right position, we hold the position, of course. And this is a much different action that we're doing, just trying to get a little bit more hydration in all the connective tissue, all the way from the pelvic point to the armpit. And you just kind of notice when you do this how much fullness you get. We're working toward a pose called half moon. And there's so many pieces to this pose that it's really nice to kind of dissect each part. And this part has us really working to lengthen the side body. Let's come to a version of half moon so you get an idea, a little blueprint of where we're going. Take your tall blocks if you've got them. If not, no problem. You can take your hands to the earth. Center your right foot on the mat. With your right foot centered, keep your right hand to the block and lift your left leg up. Take your left hand to the waist. So one leg is lifted, hand is down, foot is down, and you're opening up to the side. You might want to reach your arm up just so that you've got understanding of the form of the pose that we're going to. This is the form. See if you can get the lifted leg to be really active. All the side stretching that we did, see if you can use that to really lengthen through the side body. Release your hand down. Let's come to the opposite side now. Center your left foot with your left hand to the block. Lift your right foot up. And same thing. Just pause here. You may want to lift your arm to come to the full pose. See if you can activate the lifted leg. So often in this pose, you kind of find that that lifted leg is a little sloppy, kind of takes it easy. The more power you can bring to the lifted leg, the more you feel this buoyancy. You don't feel like you're just kind of hanging out on the standing leg. And as you're ready, you can take your hand down and take your foot down and pause in Uttanasana. With your knees slightly bent, place your hands to your low back and rise up. Let's come to our knees to do a variation of that same pose. Come to kneeling on your mat, and as you line up your hand with your knees, you won't need your blocks for now, so let's take them to the side. As you take your right hand to the side, take your left foot to the side. Inhale, reach your arm up, left arm up, or not. You can keep your hand to the waist if that feels better for you. We're mostly working on the power in this lifted leg, as if you're in that same pose we were doing with this leg lifted. Keep that and just kind of pulse a little bit, like you're just seeing if you can keep the action in the leg, the strength in the toes. You're just kind of drawing the foot, just bouncing it, not really bouncing it, but just pulsing it slightly to bring a lot of awareness to this hip. Again, if you wish, you can come to lift up your arm while you're still working that leg. You're drawing in from the toes to the pelvis. And even though it seems really simple, you start to feel a little fatigue in that lifted leg and slowly release down. Let's come to the opposite side now. So line up your fingertips with your knee, reach your opposite foot out, and line up the arch of the foot with your knee and slowly lift up. And just compare the difference here. As you're doing these very slight movements, just kind of lifting up and down. And maybe you're noticing the side muscles here get slightly fatigued. Again, you can reach your arm up. Just get this nice fullness as you keep moving the leg, getting this nice pulsation. It might get a little fatigued, so just pause if that's the case and release down. Whew. And you start to feel it all the way into the pelvic area. Let's lower ourselves from all fours position all the way to the mat again. And on the in breath, with your toenails pressing, inhale, reach your heart forward. Exhale and soften. Two more times. Inhale to get the back muscles very active. We rise up. Exhale, soften with your knees bent, with your feet lifted, with your hands reaching back. Inhale, rise up. You can grab hold of your feet if you wish, or shin bones or ankles. Exhale, soften. Two more. Inhale and exhale. And one more. Inhale and exhale. Place your hands right alongside your ribs and come through all fours position. We'll do the same thing we just did, but with a slightly different movement on the lifted leg. And I think you'll find this a little bit more accessible. So as you come to the side, let's take the right hand to the side, the left leg out, and this version of kind of Vasisthasana action with the heart open has you draw your knee in toward your heart and reach out. Do that several more times. Hug in and reach out. If you want to lift your arm, feel free to do that. You can hug in and reach out. And one more hug in, pardon me, and reach out. Release your hand down. Let's come to the opposite side. So as you do, come to this Vasisthasana form. Arm can be lifted or not. Draw your knee in toward your heart. Reach it out. Just notice the difference on this side as you hug in and reach out. You hug in. You expand fully. You draw in to reach out. One more time. You draw in to reach out. Ha. So nice when that's over. So come all the way down to your belly one more time to work the strength of the back body. And it's this strength that really protects the hip area, the low back area in our actions. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale, soften. Two more times. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, soften. And the last time, as you bend your knees, reach your hands back. If you wish to hold on to your feet or shin bones, feel free to do that. If not, just keep your hands free and rise up and exhale, soften. Come through downward facing dog or all fours position or child's pose and pause. Find ease in the breath. We've done several different variations here to prepare the body for half moon pose. So as you make your way to standing at the front of the mat, step your feet wide apart to come to Uttitha Trikonasana. So with your feet wide apart and your hands right at your hip points, turn your right toes out. Line up from the front heel to the back arch and inhale, sweep your arms up. That pulsing action we did side to side really lengthens the right side and left side ribs. So let's keep that as you come down to find the form of Uttitha Trikonasana that works really nicely for you. We did all this hip work to strengthen the action of the back leg. So keep the back leg really strong in your triangle pose. Look down toward the earth. Bend your front knee. You can take your hand to your waist. And see about stepping your back foot forward. Now keep a strong charge in this back leg before lifting it up. So we did lots of variations. We were pulsing the back leg with the leg straight. We drew the back leg in toward the heart and back out as a way to keep the strong, powerful action in the back lifted leg. So maintain that as you open your chest and come to the fullness of the pose. Keep a nice fullness to the pose there. And slowly release. Release your foot down to come to Uttanasana, standing forward fold at the front of the mat. Just pause here. Receive the in-breath and the out-breath. With both knees bent, place your hands to your low back and rise up. Step wide again. And in this wide stance, turn your left toes out Inhale, sweep your arms up. Keep the fullness of the right and left side ribs. Keep the strength in your back leg as you draw down to triangle pose. And you pause there. You see if all those actions, the strengthening of the back muscles that we did, the flexibility in the pelvic area, the length to the side body, all those actions to prepare for this. Take your hand to your waist, look down toward the floor, step your back foot in, place your left hand off at the diagonal to lift your back leg up and pause there. And we did these actions. Maybe you want to just pulse the lifted leg up and down like we did when we were in that kneeling position, or the reminder of drawing the knee in before extending it out as a way to once again get this fullness in the pelvic area. From there, come to the fullness of the pose. Lift your arm up. Maybe you can even lift your gaze up. Keep the back leg really active and strong. And exhale, release your hand. Come to Uttanasana, the standing forward bend. You can bend your knees slightly. Keep your head released. Soften. Just enjoy a nice ease to the breath. And as you're ready, you can come down through a squat position if that works for you, all the way down to lie on your back. And as you lie on your back, just pause here with your knees bent, with your chest nice and open. Take your right ankle to the outer left knee and just pause there. Draw your right knee further away from your heart. And even as you lift your left knee closer to your heart, see if you can continue that same action of drawing the right knee further from the heart. With your fingers interlaced behind your thigh, just open up the pelvic area nicely. We've been doing more active poses, kind of pulsing in the movements. This very, seemingly very passive pose. Really working the action of the right leg, the right toes, to go a little bit deeper here in your reflection of the form, of the alignment. Release now, both feet down to the mat. Just take your left ankle to the outer right knee and pause. Draw your left knee further away from your heart. Spread your left toes. And this nice fullness. Before drawing your right knee in, with your fingers interlaced right at the belly of the hamstrings. Keep that action that we began with both feet on the floor of reaching from the left pelvic point all the way to the left knee. Enjoy your breath. Find ease in your breath. Release your feet down. Parallel your feet to lift your pelvis up. So press your elbows down, lift your pelvis up, pause here. And the assimilation of the actions that we did, we were strengthening the back muscles so that in this pose you could get a nice lift of the heart. We were opening the side body by just pulsing to the right and left side. There were many hip actions that we did to create a little bit more fluidity in the pelvis. And as you come down to the mat, and as you straighten your legs and let the arms settle to the earth, as you think of all those actions that you did, and have this time be a time where you can just kind of put it all together for yourself. What did you learn? What is your takeaway? Are there some do-overs there that you saw that you can really take into your daily practice? Start to soften your breath, soften all your facial muscles. You breathe in deep. And breathe out long. The breath in allows you to feel this fullness, this spaciousness that the breath alone provides. The out breath just gives you this softness, this ease. Keep this nice flow, this ease of the breath. Maintain a feeling of heaviness in your limbs. Softness in the outer body. And a felt sense of inner peace. Enjoy your Shavasana. Namaste.